Hi everyone. When is a straight line not a straight line? I'll show you. Let's play with rulers. But first, you have to know the rules. You must use rulers designed for this purpose. Rulers must be a minimum of 1/4 inch thick. You must use the appropriate foot for ruler work. I have not forgotten those of you who use your domestic machine for quilting. I've got you covered. I'll show you an unconventional trick to prevent the necessity of having to buy a new foot. The most important rule is you must have fun. Are you ready to create some magic? Let's go. We're going to create what's called a paradox using nothing but straight lines. This is an illustration how a paradox is either stitched out or drawn out. You start out with a triangle in this case, and you continue to turn your work drawing lines inside that triangle, ending each line 1/4 inch away from where you started. When you end up, you'll have something that looks like this. And you've used nothing but straight lines. Now you're getting carried away. Now you have 3 paradoxes all in a row. What if we added some more? What would happen then? Then you would have a family reunion of paradox and a pretty cool background quilting stitch too. This background is so mesmerizing. So are you ready to stitch it out? A promise is a promise. I didn't forget those who are using the domestic machine. Here's how we're going to do it. Those of us with mid to long arm machines have an advantage in that our foot is higher than yours. The standard free motion foot is so thin it is allowed to slide under the ruler. If this were to happen, it could do some serious damage to your machine, so you have to be careful. Now there's a foot a quilter doesn't use too often. It's the lowly zipper foot. But look how much thicker the foot is on the side compared to the free motion foot. Setting up your machine for free motion with your zipper foot will allow you to safely use rulers, and I'll demonstrate that later. Okay, we already have our triangle stitched out. Now we're going to start stitching inside our triangle. Notice the bottom of the ruler is even with the line that was drawn before it. That will put your stitches exactly 1/4 inch out from that line without having to measure. The reason for that is because the edge of the foot is 1/4 inch away from where the needle actually strikes the fabric. You just want to keep turning your fabric around, and as you do that, place your ruler so that the bottom of the line that you're stitching, the ruler is against that previous line. And just keep stitching around and around, and that will form your paradox. It's actually pretty easy, and the further into the triangle you get, the easier it is because the stitching line is that much shorter. But you can already start to see a little bit the curve that is starting to form here. Just take a close look and you'll be able to see it. Can you see it yet? This is a very relaxing quilting stitch, and believe it or not, for as dense as the stitching is, the fabric still remains very flexible. When you get to the very inside of the center of that triangle, you'll have a curved line that you can actually stitch out on to start your next triangle. and you just want to stitch over your previous lines, get to a starting point for your next triangle or whatever shape you decide on. It does not always have to be a triangle. Try to experiment a little bit. I'm now doing the same thing, but I'm doing that on the domestic sewing machine, set up for free motion quilting, but with the zipper foot. So I have no fear whatsoever of the foot slipping underneath the ruler as I'm stitching along. It looks a little different, but it works, and I didn't have to buy a special foot for my machine. You're still going to keep your ruler right on the edge of the previous stitched line, because from the end of the zipper foot to where the stitch actually forms on my machine is actually 1/4 of an inch if I keep it in center needle position. You may have to experiment a little bit with your machine to see how that works. So there you have it, folks. There's your paradox. There's your ruler work. By the time you're done with this, you'll be an expert with rulers. Have fun!